Alright, so I'm going to be talking about how the numerous wastes produced by intensive swine confinement pose a significant challenge environmentally, as well as pose a threat to our own personal health. My advocate's claim was that modern-day swine, when raised in controlled environments, have increased advantages over free-range swine. And they had three secondary claims, one being various swine confinement techniques of swine reduce transmission of parasites, disease throughout herds, and allow environmental control. Two being advancements in technology allow for better care in housing facilities. And three being economic benefits. I'm going to be talking about the first one, which various confinement techniques of swine do not reduce the transmission of parasites, diseases throughout herds, and environmental control. According to EHP Online, which is the Environmental Health Perspective online.org, various studies have documented a variety of contaminants, microbial agents, and health effects in those occupationally exposed to swine. With these studies, it has provided groundwork for an increasing number of research to be done on the possible community's health effects. In my advocate's first claim, they state that the exposure to wildlife diseases and parasites is minimized because there's less exposure to external parasites and less stress from predatory animals. They are correct in that sense. However, confining them does increase the exposure of internal parasites, and instead of having stress from predatory animals, they have stress with each other being confined. Raising these animals in such contained environments not only reduce the freedom that these animals are allowed, but they generate a good amount of dust, dander, and waste material. And within these buildings, these dust particles consisting of skin cells, feces, bacteria, fungi, generate a numerous amount of gases that contribute to our poor indoor air quality. My advocate also states that recycling of waste products from animals used with the use of anaerobic lagoons to store and process fecal material from animals. I found out that according to EHPOnline.org, that 100 million tons of feces are produced by the 60 million hogs raised in the U.S. They usually store this waste in wastewater lagoons. However, these lagoons have become an environmental concern. Contamination from the environment can cause lagoon breaks, which release the waste that is put into these lagoons to breach into our surface water, which can contaminate the water that we use to drink. So containing these animals and controlling the environment can also harm our water supply. And instead of letting them roam free on the farm, it also costs more money to take care of their waste to put it into the lagoons. My secondary claim is that as advances in technology allow for better care in housing facilities advancements in technology allow for better care in housing facilities at a huge cost. With the increase in technology comes the increase of money to research these housing facilities. And according to CNN.com, we are in a worldwide depression that is starting to look like 1873. So just from that statement, we are in no state to afford this technology for better housing. I'm going to respond to the third claim, which is economic disadvantages, not advantages. According to Dr. Aaron Atkin at antwefarms.com, livestock producers are going through much criticism for pollution and disease problems, while in the meantime farmers are having production problems such as costly manure removal, energy consumption, medicine costs, and the barn being an unsafe place to work. With these problems, how is our economy supposed to be gaining an advantage? The advocate's claim states how it is supposed to increase advantages over free-range swine when one of the longest-standing costly problems of handling manure has been the absence of simple, reliable, and accurate, and a long-lasting system of manure collection and transportation out of the barn. If these swine are being raised in a controlled environment, this problem still occurs. Just because you raise swine in a controlled environment doesn't help the fact that you still need a system to transport manure out of that controlled environment. If we control the temperature during the seasons for pigs, the could also raise the cost. That also raises the cost of being able to raise these pigs. And having to spend more money to care for these pigs does not help our economy as well. That's where my advocate states that an economic benefit is that it allows for more environmental control, heat and cooler seasons, air and hotter seasons. And to conclude, if we were to raise swine in a controlled environment, it would not help us any more than it would hurt us raising it in the open areas. That's it.
All right, you labeled the subject clearly. The secondary claims are previewed. At first it sounds like you're only going to address the first point, but I believe that you ultimately try and address all of the supporting points. You've got a quote on the studies, but it's not clear what the conclusion was from that first study that you make a reference to. Then you get to the issue of confinement, and I think you've got a couple of arguments here about internal contamination and stress from being confined, and I think that those are good arguments. Both points, though, sound like they're asserted. You might have been quoting your source again at this point, but it was not very clear, and you want to make that statement a lot more declarative, and you want to cite the evidence much more clearly. When you get to the lagoons argument, you've got a clear citation of the evidence, but you need to again make the declarative statement here a little bit more meaningful and contrasted to the declarative statement of the advocate, because it sounds like you're simply describing something that is, but is that a description that says the way the advocate presented it is inaccurate, or it's wrong, or the conclusion is not something that can be trusted based on this particular information? I'm not sure what you gain by presenting that information. Later on, there's an argument about technical advancements and how they add cost, and down below there's an argument about the temperature controls and all those kinds of things, how they add cost. It sounds like what you're saying is because of all these new technologies that they're talking about, that they add cost, so there can't really be an economic benefit. Then that's what you need to say. Make a declarative statement that says that. We're having to infer too much in the argument instead of you telling us what the argument is. You've got I think you've gathered some good information here, and you've probably got good responses on the points, but you're not getting the most out of them because you're not making those declarative sentences as clear in response to the advocate's claims as they need to be. All right, thank you.